Yo, what is going on, guys? Got an episode that will give you an absolute headache within 5 seconds here today. We are going to be kicking it off with this woman who says that if her boyfriend doesn't propose to her after 1 year, then she is gone. Now, this is part of a series, guys, basically of modern women, demanding, throwing out ultimatums that men marry them. And of course, it isn't working too well. Let's just jump right in. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. And of course, don't say that I didn't warn you, because this is really stupid. Let's take a listen.
I'll never get the relationships that last like so long, and the girl's waiting for the ring, like she's waiting to get proposed to. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, how are you with this person for this long? You know me, within a year, if you don't pop the ring, you're lucky to have me, yeah? And right now, boyfriend and girlfriend, you don't have me. Yeah. Like, yes, we're in a committed relationship, but no. If my intention is marriage, I'm going to make it known. And if you don't make the time, like, see it later. You're not serious.
If you know what you want, and that's what you want, and they're aware of it, 100%. I think there has to be some kind of like time frame, because otherwise, what are you doing?
I just love, by the way, how like there's always some yes woman in the picture, like, oh, you're so right, queen, 100%, go out there, get that marriage. So let's look at how stupid this is. Number one, this woman is trying to demand a ring within a year, which, by the way, guys, marriage is a complete scam for men these days. They take on all the risk. Let's be honest, women are not marrying dudes typically who earn less money than them, at least across very long periods of time, especially. But yeah, dude has to marry her within a year, and apparently, guys, we know her. Like, this is the norm for her. You know, it's her track record. If the dude doesn't want to marry her within a year, then she bounces. I don't think the dudes particularly give a damn. But let's continue here. Absolutely insane, man.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll hear from a woman who shares the story of how she claims to have broken up with her fiancé. We'll also see a girl from a feminist collective who says that women should cheat on their partners with their relatives so that men can feel the pain that women feel. She's clearly deeply traumatized. Your support is super important to us. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's get started.
If you're a yes person, like you just always say yes to everything, listen up. I was dating this guy for 4 years and he proposed to me. I said yes. I was 22, and at that time in my life, I said yes to everything. If somebody said that this was the career I should go into, I said yes. If someone said this is the religion you need to follow, I said yes. And yeah, sometimes I didn't say yes out loud, but with my actions, I did say yes. Back to that relationship. I obviously ended up breaking it off. I used to be a touring musician, and after one of my tours, I realized that one of the diamonds in my ring had fallen out. Now, as much as I tried to not take that as a sign that I shouldn't be with this person, I started asking myself some deep questions. And I asked myself, is he my best friend? Is he my fairy tale? Are we compatible? I brought these concerns up to him, and it didn't go well. He ended up silencing me, and we didn't talk for, I think it was about a week. But in that week, I realized that I was not meant to be with him. That he wasn't my fairy tale, he wasn't my best friend, and we just really didn't match up.
I love this this thing, guys, where you have, modern women. So she accepted this marriage, and then decides randomly that the dude isn't for her after accepting. Coincidentally, by the way, after the diamond falls out of her ring. That's not suspicious at all, don't you think? And of course, she comes back and she's like, from her tours as a musician, and she's like, this isn't really for me. Absolutely laughable. And then she tries to blame it on like being a yes person. Oh, we're just societally convinced to say yes to everything. There's never any taking responsibility in these videos, like never any taking responsibility whatsoever. It was always somebody else's fault. I was convinced by somebody else. Society manipulated me. I'm this way because a man told me to be this way. Never any responsibility taken or accountability taken whatsoever. But she just randomly decides to get rid of this guy. Also, this whole best friend thing is super weird to me. Like, you guys are not friends, okay? you know, you are romantic. It's a romantic relationship. This is not a platonic relationship. I kind of cringe every time I hear this thing of like, yeah, we're best friends. We were friends with each other first. I don't like this. I don't think that marriages and things like this and, you know, relationships on a romantic level can be considered the same as a platonic one. It makes no sense to me, man. At the end of the day, I think it's just women who are getting into relationships and accepting things from men who they aren't actually attracted to.
I had already sent out over 200 save the dates, literally just the week before. After I decided to break it off with him, I begged him to have a phone call with me where I broke it off. I literally canceled our whole relationship. This was the first time in my life I asked myself what I really wanted and what I really needed, and why it was that I said yes when really I didn't know the answer. But actually, I did know the answer. I wanted to say no. That was 7 years ago now, and now I'm happily married to the love of my life. He is my best friend. He is my fairy tale, and we're super compatible.
Yeah, so she went out there and she found a dude who was probably more attractive, probably had more money. So she went out there and she just, what this essentially means is she thought that she could do better. So she went out there, she tried to do better, and now she's happier because she, you know, she got a dude who's probably more attractive and or earns more money. Right? The thing is, how do you, you know, as this next guy, how do you justify being with this woman? What are the odds that, you know, at some point she just turns around and says, hey, we're not best friends anymore. I'm going to be dipping out of this relationship and this marriage. That's the thing that's super concerning for dudes as well, as women can just leave at any given point in time and walk away with your things.
We've been married 5 years, and the guy that I broke up with, he is also now married to the love of his life. They have a kid together, and I wish them nothing but the best.
Oh, shut up.
I don't regret the choice that I made in saying yes because it taught me a lot, and I don't believe in regrets. But I could have saved myself a lot of heartbreak and heartache if I would have been able to ask myself the hard questions, what it is that I really want and what I really need before, and to not just people please and say yes to everything. So ask yourself, where have you been saying yes where you really should be saying no? And maybe where are you saying no when you really should be saying yes?
Decisions driven by emotion. Women are like that. In moments when you expect them to make decisions based on reason, they'll make important decisions based on how you make them feel, as you saw in the way she described it. It's my fairy tale. He's my best friend. We're compatible. All of these reasons are more emotional than from a well-thought-out life plan together.
You know what? I would actually argue that it's kind of the opposite here. I think that women oftentimes, especially with things like marriage, they are very intentional. They use this kind of language to throw you off the scent of what is really happening here. But what is really happening is usually they just want a man who's got more money or who's more attractive. Usually in terms of marriages, what it really means is I need a guy who makes more money. Because when women are looking to have long-term relationships, particularly marriages, they are looking at a man's ability to provide. I think that women are incredibly, this is going to sound really contradictory here, guys, but I think a lot of women are very logical about the types of men that they choose, particularly the marriages and things like this. Like, let's not kid ourselves, guys. Do you think that when women, for example, go into their 30s and they're looking for a dude to marry, that they're not looking at his bank account, that they're not trying to upgrade him? Like, let's be real about this. Women have a very, very cold and logical metrics for the types of men that they choose to deal with, particularly on a long-term basis. Now, on short-term, they just go with the dudes who are attractive, and they will also call that connection. You know, I felt such a strong connection and so on, but really it just means that the dude had something that she wanted. I don't believe this language. I think it's just to throw dudes off the scent, to be honest.
That's why sometimes you see women getting involved with men that you and everyone else know aren't good for them, yet they still choose to be in relation.
Do you want to know what's hilarious? Finding out 5 days before Christmas that the wedding you've been planning for the last year and a half won't be happening as of 11 a.m. this morning because you found him in your house with the girl he told you not to worry about. Merry Christmas to me. But what's even better than that is what he said to me when I caught him. He said, I thought you said you weren't going to be home until 5:30. And he has a point. I guess I did say that. Maybe I should be grateful because better to find out now than later. But the pain is... And strangely, at the same time, I almost feel nothing. And I'm not sure what to do. I think I'm in shock. Like, I'm definitely in shock. I knew it. I knew it.
You know, guys, this absolutely sucks. And this is an awful situation to be in. Again, I don't really care if you're a man, if you're a woman or whatever. I think that this is just an awful situation to be in all around. But I will say, why the hell would you record this video and post it to TikTok? You know, like, you go through something awful, something really bad happens to you. Maybe you were betrayed in a very severe way. And I don't know about you guys, but the last thing I would do would be to record a video of myself and post it on TikTok about me being upset and having gone through X particular situation. Like, what the hell? This is what causes me to lose a lot of empathy for these people's situation. Is like, why the hell are you posting this on the internet? Go to your family, you know, go to your close friends and things like this. But we just have to jump on the internet to talk about it for likes and attention. I'm not saying that this isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to be upset about this. But why the hell are we posting it on TikTok, man?
Anyways, that's my monologue. If you don't mind letting me know in the comments what you thought, if you had any pointers, thank you guys.
And now we're asking people to drop a comment. Like, this can't be real, guys. You know, here's my terrible life situation, guys, but don't forget to drop a comment. You know, that's unreal.
So much.
For a moment, I even believed it, because let's be honest, regardless of gender, this is horrible. Although it seemed a bit fake, because I doubt anyone's first reaction to something like that would be to record a video for TikTok. But
you know, I've always thought this as well, is, oh, well, it's probably fake and they're probably just not being real. And yeah, this is probably fake. But a lot of women do actually do this, right? They go through some situation, or, you know, they have something, their relationship breaks up or whatever. And the first thing they do is to jump on TikTok and talk about it. So I don't know what the go is there. But let's continue on to the next clip and see what other crazy nonsense we have to deal with here. What is this? A pink-haired individual. I wish the ladies would stop believing their husbands who say, but I still love you, after they cheat. Yeah, well, I mean, clearly the person doesn't love you if they're out there cheating on you, but let's see what wisdom is to be dropped right here from this individual.
And I don't care if anyone hates me after this, but whenever I hear a dude say, just because I cheated on my wife doesn't mean I don't still love her, it makes me instantly want to get into a relationship with him just so I could meet his family and his dad, and then make it really obvious and make it really easy for him to find out so that he confronts me. And as soon as he confronts me, I'm going to say, just because I your dad doesn't mean I don't still love his son.
I mean, what makes you think these dudes would want to get into a relationship with you in the first place? Just by the way, the entitlement of these women, like this, I don't know if this woman is like, what the intention is here. I'm assuming she's bald and this is not her hair. I don't know. She probably has a collection of different hairs, I guess, wigs. But it's just bold to assume that the men would want a relationship with you in the first place. I do understand what this woman is saying in this video, but very, very bold of you to assume, madam.
I feel like that's the only way these losers will ever comprehend how stupid they sound when they say some shit like that. The very act of cheating is an unloving thing to do. So how delusional and insane do you have to be to do the most unloving thing you could do to your wife, who you vowed not to betray, and then say you still love her? It gets even more funny when you assess the average male and you realize that the average male does not love himself. And because he doesn't love himself, there's absolutely no way he's capable of loving someone else. even if that other person is his wife. And when you understand that, you understand why their idea of love is so twisted and backwards, and why they're okay with doing something so unloving to you and then turning around and telling you they still love you. They don't even have the slightest grasp on what it means to love someone, let alone show that through words and actions. And it just shows how disconnected they are when they can turn around and do something so hurtful to the person that they're claiming they love the most. Not to mention that these loser dudes have absolutely no valid reason to cheat on you anyway. The reason is boredom. It would make so much more sense if they could just say, I cheated on you because I got bored, but I still want to be with you. But the most annoying thing is the way that they will constantly lie and paint their actions out to be something that you know it's not, and gaslight you into thinking that they still love you and it was just a one-time thing and it didn't mean anything. If it didn't mean anything, then why did you do it? Because if that's the case, then where does the line get drawn between actions you take that don't mean anything and actions you take that mean something? Is our marriage meaningless?
Let me tell you what's going on. I'm not excusing infidelity, which is wrong and breaks trust. But here's what happens. Women are born with social value, and men are not. This makes a man's path clear. Unless he's won the genetic lottery, his path is to build himself up. This means that a man will work toward becoming his best version. Along that journey, he may end up in a relationship. As he becomes more stable, he becomes more desirable. Add to that the fact that he's already been pre-selected, meaning he becomes even more attractive to other women once one has chosen him. I'm not sure why it happens, but that's how women's hypergamy works. This leads to many more women being attracted to this man. One of the things that increases in a man in a relationship, if he's in good shape and financially stable, is his confidence, which is attractive to women. Also, the fact that he's off limits makes him even more tempting. This results in more women brazenly flirting with him. Now that I've explained this, in the next part, I'll tell you how it all ends up playing out.
Because that's an action that you took. Saying, but I still love you after you cheat on your wife is a blatant lie and an insult to the intelligence of women. If you truly love someone, then you understand that love is the strongest force of all. And if you're truly in love with your wife, then that force is going to compel you to control yourself. And if it's not compelling you to control yourself, and you have no desire to control yourself either, then you don't love that person. Saying, but I still love you is just a sad attempt to slap a band-aid over the betrayal and make it out to be something much smaller than it actually is, so that your wife doesn't leave you, so that you don't lose everything. All I'm asking is for men to be more honest with themselves and arrange their words in a way that is accurately reflective of their true feelings. The truth is, you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to be a man who does not love himself, who does not love his wife, who does not respect his commitments to himself, who does not respect his commitments to his wife, and still has a wife. But men figured out that they can just use the L word, and women are going to be quick to forgive them and willing to give them another chance.
Okay, so let me just pause it here. I actually agree with most of what this woman is saying right here. I think that, you know, if you cheat on somebody, you don't really love them. And this excuse that a lot of people put forward is completely stupid and irrelevant. So I can agree with this woman in this particular capacity. Now, there's something else I wanted to say back here. Most men don't get away with saying nonsense like this, and the women will still stick with them. Again, it's only a very, very small percentage of men who say this sort of stuff, and women will just put up with this. I've said this on the channel many times, guys, but a lot of women will put up with any sort of behavior as long as it comes from a highly attractive dude. The more attractive the guy is, the more nonsense he can get away with. Point in case, if you guys have ever seen those like Tinder videos where people go undercover, like men go out here and go undercover as hyper attractive dudes. I mean, these dudes pretend to have done the most heinous of things in their past, and the women still don't particularly give a damn. So obviously, as the man, you shouldn't be doing this, but let's be honest, like, the women are selecting dudes who don't exactly display the best of behavior, and then oftentimes they cry and complain in videos like these. You know, like, oh, I selected this guy, and it just turns out that he was seeing 5 women and so on. So that's kind of where I draw the line there. I don't think that men should be doing it, and I don't think that women should be choosing bad men. And if you actually look at the track record of modern women choosing men, it's typically very, very, very bad. Like, you take the average woman as she goes into adulthood. Let's just say you've taken some like 19-year-old girl and she goes out there and she tries to select a dude. They are so bad at selecting men, it's not even funny, you know? So yeah, I don't think the dudes should be cheating. And I also don't think that women should be staying with dudes who do cheat on them or do these sorts of awful things. But you know what? I think women oftentimes do. I really do. I think women put up with a lot of you know, non-commitment type behavior from dudes because they want to lock the guy down and they want to keep him, which is obviously incredibly stupid.
And as much as I want to feel sorry for women who do this, I don't. Because at the end of the day, you know what love is. You know you love that man differently than he loves you. And you are not willing to throw away your entire marriage because you're okay with him loving you less than you love him. That's the honest truth of it. If your husband cheated on you and you stayed, then it's okay to just say, it's more important for me to have a man than it is for me to have a man who loves me the way I love him. Because when he says he loves you, what he means is he loves the way you make his life vibrant and exciting and easier and seamless. He loves the way you...
I don't know about the word exciting there, you know? I think this woman is like mostly on the mark here. Slightly a little bit off though. I don't think dudes are looking for, when they're looking for wives and girlfriends and things like this, I don't think many dudes on their list of ideal woman is exciting, you know, because that to me, that the first thing that tells me is like, she likes to hit the club, she likes to go to, you know, concerts and so on and so forth. Excitement is a bit of a weird word to be using.
Overlook his shitty behavior just to keep him in your life. He loves that you have low standards because he knows that if you had high standards, you know this too, you would have walked away at the first sign of disrespect. He loves that even though he showed you through his words and actions over and over and over again that he is settling for you, and that's why he feels comfortable entertaining so many other women, that is not a compelling enough reason for you to walk away from him permanently.
I've said this before, by the way, guys, on the channel many times, but I have often thought to myself that modern women, you know, they say that they have standards, but again, they really don't if the dude is attractive enough. Like the standards just go out of the window. Oh, you know, I have all of these standards. I'm, you know, insert age now. I'm 35, so my standards are really high. But again, what it means is the nice guy has to have all of these stupid standards. You know, he has to do X, Y, Z and all of this sort of nonsense. He has to be chivalrous, take you out on dinner dates and blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, this like Chad over here, who she hasn't even got a relationship with, will be seeing 5 different women at the same time. And her standards will certainly be lowered there. Very interesting how this sort of stuff works. But again, I do agree with this particular woman here. I think that men and women oftentimes disrespect themselves in different ways, but that's really the crux of the issue. Dudes are out here pursuing women that don't want them, and women are out here giving their bodies to dudes who don't want commitment from them. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Maybe I'm talking shit, but if I was married to a man and he cheated on me, I would f his dad, and I would make sure he found out, and I would tell him, just because I f***ed your dad doesn't mean I don't still love his son.
Okay, and that's where the psycho comes out, right? It's like she's talking mostly sense, and then she says this part here. So you would basically go out there and be just as bad as the dude would be. I mean, you know, you kind of lose all empathy at that particular point. Again, bold of you to assume that the dude wants you, but hey.
And I would pray that he has a brother so he could question which son I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna come with that energy.
I mean, yeah, see, this is where, guys, you look at the woman and you go, oh, you know, she talks sense for 2 seconds there. Okay, she has some self-respect, fair enough. But then she goes on talking about how she wants to have bedroom fun with the dude's dad and the dude's brother now. It's like, oh, you're just... We're back to being a psycho, I guess.
Yeah, because the things y'all say to try to normalize your shitty behavior is insane. It's insane as me saying I'm gonna f*** your dad and then make you find out and then tell you that I love his son more than I love him. Sorry, not sorry.
As I said, I don't approve of infidelity, but as I explained earlier, unlike women who are born with social value, men are not. When a man starts to get more attention from women, his mind naturally seeks as much intimacy as he can get. This is part of our more primal instincts. I'm not excusing infidelity for this reason. Another thing to consider is that it's true that a man can love his wife, care for her, and still be with another woman simply for pleasure and that hunter instinct. Unlike women, who usually need to make some emotional investment with a man before being intimate, men don't operate that way. A man can be with a woman, block her out afterward, and carry on like nothing happened. That's why you hear a lot of men say, "I still love you." It's a cheap and stupid excuse, but it doesn't mean it's not valid. But as a woman, if you try to compare yourself to a man and seek revenge because you're still hurt by what happened with your ex-husband, it shows. You dye your hair pink, which is a huge red flag. This is the perfect example of why women, after bad experiences with a Chad, need therapy, because the next man who comes along will pay for all the things he didn't do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one of the things that I was taught ever since I was a kid, right? Is like two wrongs don't make a right. And then after this, it sounds to me like this woman was like engaged or something like that and she got cheated on, or maybe she actually was a wife for a time and got cheated on, so she left. And so the thing is now she's going to carry that into the next relationship that she has. And now, you know, the dude is going to have to deal with the baggage as a consequence.
She ends up hating all men, as if we're all to blame for what happened to her. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you
But anyway, guys, I think we are going to be leaving today's episode there. So don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. Share any experiences that you might think relate to today's episode down below. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.